Dear students, our today's topic is the cell, and we are going to learn about organisms show variety in cell number, cell shape and cell size. And what is the name of the instrument which is used to observe the cell? It is the microscope. And how we are able to see the inside of the structure of the cell? We use several stains or dyes to color the parts of our cell so that it becomes visible and we are able to see the parts of the cells very clearly. And let us start with number of cells. That how many number of cells are there found in an organism. So if we take the example of elephant, tree, human being, amoeba, paramecium, etc. They range from few to millions and billions of cells. For lower organism it will be very single cell also, and for higher it can be millions and trillions also, like us human beings, etc. But what happens is all these cells perform different functions. Whether it is a small lower organism or higher organism, each cell is capable of performing different functions. So, based on the number of cells, there are mainly two types of organisms. One is unicellular organism and other one is multicellular organism. Already I have told you what is meant by unicellular organisms. Organisms whose body is made up of single cell. Uni means single, cellular means cell. So, organisms whose body is made up of single cell are called unicellular organisms. And organisms whose body are made up of several cells, more than one cell, are called multicellular organisms. Each organism starts with a single cell. So whether it is a higher organism or a lower organism, each one starts with a single cell, that is the fertilized cell. And example of unicellular organism is amoeba, paramecium, etc. Here I have drawn a diagram for amoeba. These are the pseudopodia. Pseudo means false, podia means legs. So it is a single cell organism, amoeba, and these pseudopodia help to perform various functions like nutrition, locomotion, that is movement from one place to other, etc. Now let us see what are the functions which amoeba does with the help of a single cell. It is able to capture and digest food. With the same single cell, it is able to capture and digest food. It respires, it excretes, it grows, and it reproduces also. So dear children, you have seen with the help of a single cell, it is able to perform several functions. And if we see multicellular organisms, they are also made up of cell, but not one. Many cells are there. So what happens is these cells unite to form tissue, and group of tissues combine to form organs into organ system, and then organism. And each one is capable of doing its own function. I hope you understood about the number of cells. Already we have seen about cell number. Let us see about shape of the cell. And let us take the example of amoeba once again. What is the shape of amoeba? It is irregular in shape, or it has no definite shape, and it is able to change the shape with the help of pseudopodia. What is meant by pseudopodia? Pseudo means false. Podia means feet. So, with the help of its pseudopodia, it is able to move and capture food. Now, let us see one more example, that is WBC or the white blood cells. It is found in human beings and it is also capable of changing shape. And let us see some of the examples of cells having different shapes. I have drawn some diagrams. First one is red blood cells. What is the shape? It is spherical in shape. Then second one I have drawn muscle cells. It is having spindle shape. Third one I have drawn nerve cell or neuron, which is very long and branched. What is the function of neuron? It is sending, the function of neuron is receiving and transfer of messages from one part of the body to other, and thus it helps in control and coordination. And dear children, do you know which component of the cell gives its shape to the cell? It is the membrane, outer covering or the membrane, which is under which the cell is enclosed. It is called cell membrane. And in case of plants, they have an additional enclosing that is called cell wall. It gives additional protection to the plants. It is made up of cellulose, about which we will be studying in detail. I hope you understood about shape of the cell. Dear students, we have already learned about organisms showing variety in cell number and organisms showing variety in cell shape. Today we are going to learn about organisms showing variety in size of the cell. Let us see about the size of the cell. The size of the cell in organisms may range from micrometers or microns to few centimeters. And most of the cells are microscopic and not visible to unaided eye. Without any instrument like microscopes, we can't be able to see the cells of the organisms. What is the example for smallest cell? It is the bacteria. It ranges from 0.1 to 0.5 micrometers. Let us see example for largest cell. It is the egg of an ostrich. Its size ranges from 170 millimeter by 120 millimeters, and hence egg, which we are able to see with unaided eye. No instrument is needed. It is also a single cell. It has, when we break open, it has two parts, one white material and one yellow part. White material is the albumin and the yellow part is called the yolk. Now let us see about some of the detailed study of size of the cell. We may think that if organism is very small, the size of the cell will be very small. If organism is very large, cell size will be very large. But cell size has no relation with size of the animal or plant body. Whether it is small or big, that cells of rat and elephant may be different, but size remains the same. Size of the cell is related only to the functions in case of plants and animals. For example, nerve cell. It is the largest cell because its function is to transfer messages from one part of the body to other. It should reach the brain, and then brain gives the signal that what to be done next. So it has to be long and branched so that immediately the action can be performed. So dear children, I hope you understood about size of the cell and the topic cell. Thank you.